But in recent years, I've come to see that these are often the people who stand in the way of progress because they are committed only in a lukewarm manner. And every time you move to try to solve the problem, they will respond by saying, you're moving too fast, you ought to cool off, you should put on brakes. And they end up more devoted to order than to justice, and are more devoted to maintaining a sort of negative peace, which is merely the absence of tension, than gaining a positive peace, which is the presence of justice. And they can always say to you that you should wait for a more convenient season. And I've come to see that these are the people that often stand in the way because they get close enough to you to at least discuss your plans, and they become friendly enough to talk with you. You at least have dialogue with them, but they want to stand in the way of every move forward, and this has been my disappointment. I think at times it is better to have outright rejection and misunderstanding from people of ill will than to have lukewarm acceptance from people of goodwill. It is better to have absolute misunderstanding from people of ill will than to have partial understanding from people of goodwill. And this is what we're seeing every day in our struggle in the South, that many of the moderates of the white South and many of them mean well, and I shouldn't only say the South, but the moderates all over, stand in the way of progress because they refuse to understand the problem, and they live by the myth of time, uh, failing to realize that time will not solve the problem. And there's a danger that the moderate will live by this myth, believing that if you just leave things alone and not push too much, time will solve the problem. And it has always been my contention that this is an invalid view because it goes out with the idea that that is something in the very nature and structure of time that will miraculously solve all problems. And time really is neutral. It can be used either constructively or destructively.
Welcome to another episode of You Left Shit Out. I was just thinking of the words that MLK was just speaking. That's why I had a short pause, because that was pretty profound. I'm going to play the last few seconds again, but welcome to You Left Shit Out. I'm your host for today. I am Jay, or CJ, government name James, but we got two James, so they call me Jay. And this MLK clip, I'm letting you know now, it's going to be played again tomorrow. Because the issue, the class divide on the left has been simmering for a while. And just the events over the last several days has convinced RBN that we have to go all-out class warfare. And the reason I'm giving this introduction for this stream, because this ties into it. So I've been holding on this topic for a while because I slowly build, look at video and content and slowly build my agenda for the stream. And when the Jordan Sheraton stuff happened today, and if those that don't know, there's a bunch of shit that happened on Twitter with Jordan Sheraton that was tied to Mike Figueredo on a Humanist Report. So that almost pushed this stream to another time, because I was going to insert that, but we're going to save that for tomorrow. So we're talking class warfare on the left. That's what we're talking about. We have a bunch of professional managerial class people who have been the main voices on the left, and they have been complete failures. Sam SEDER is in the top 5, if not 3. He has one of the biggest platforms, second to TYT. This is actually part of TYT network. And now when you think about the boutique left, the new name I'm using is pseudo left, reformists, when you think of them, who are they all connected to? Are they all connected to TYT? I'm talking Majority Report. So Sam SEDER, Emma Vigeland, Minky Kuntz spin off and now has her own thing, but she sometimes appears, but she's in hiding right now because of the debacle of her deciding to run. That's why we don't see her in the same way that we did before her campaign started. And then you have TYT, you got John over there, you got Anna over there, you got Jank over there. And then, whatever other spinoffs. Oh, no, and then you have Humanist Report, you have Rational National. And it's coming to a head. What they want and what is their priority simply are not the working class. And there is this contradiction. There's people wanting or saying they're part of a movement that be representative of the working class and the poor, but it's just a representative of the professional managerial class at this point. So there's a lot of people that reject RBN because we're here to say, oh, no. No more of this foolishness. And some people don't like it. Mike Figueroa over at the Humanist Report, obviously, and that bleeded out in a disastrous results for him, got ratioed at least 35 times. I can count like 35 times in the thread he got ratioed. And it's coming to a head. So it's been coming to a head. Rome has been itching for this class warfare with the people who keep projecting that they're the representatives of the left as they leave out the people in the bottom. So that's the introduction for today. First introduction. Because that's the broad thing that brings us to today's topic, which is obsession for PMCs, or let's do it this way, obsession by Sam SEDER, a fragrance for PMCs, and that's the professional managerial class. I wanted to give it a little funny spin, so there you go, but that's what we're talking about, an obsession with a particular person. And Sam SEDER has a particular obsession with Jimmy Dore. So for me, I always have to find what is the root cause. Where's the beginning? And it seems to me with all of the TYT sphere, the beginning of the end between the relationship of them and Jimmy Dore was when he decided to jump off the Justice Democrats bullshit and say no to both corporate parties, even the progressives. To me, that is effectively jumping off and becoming a class traitor to them. And we'll get more into what I mean by class traitor because Jimmy is in their class. Jimmy is in their class. But Jimmy is not advocating in the way that people in his class advocate. So that is the topic for today, but we're gonna get into some I'm sure there's a lot of comments. I wonder if we should do a chat check. I'm looking at 173 comments right here waiting. So obviously I'm not going to be able to get through all of them. So we'll go through some of your comments. So let's do a chat check and let's do a like check. For those that are brand new, welcome to the conversation. But what I mean by chat check is we just go through the chat and just throw up some comments before we get started in the topic. And then a like check is just checking the amount of likes we have versus the amount of people we have watching. So right now we're approaching 300 people. We have 129 likes. So let's where is the banner? Let's like the stream, everybody. Welcome if you're brand new. If you've been here a long time, if you're a regular, welcome back, fam. And like the stream. Let's see if we can get to 225 likes. 225, that's essentially about 90 more likes. If we can push 90 more likes, we can get a lot more people in here, because I'm sure there's some Sam SEDER people here. They may not be typing yet, but there's some people here for that. They're here. So say hi to some of your favorite podcasters, because I guarantee you some of them are watching. Because don't matter what side you fall on, even if you hate Jimmy Dore, you have to be like, yeah, Sam does bring that shit up a lot. Sam does. He bring it up a lot. Even though I hate him, but he does kind of brings it up a lot. And researching this topic, and once again, like the stream, let's get to 225 is what we're trying to target. In researching this, there was literally well over 100 videos on the Majority Report has done with just the name Jimmy in it. Jimmy could be in other videos, but just searching the name Jimmy Dore and Majority Report, it was well over 100 videos. I mean, he's not an elected official. Why would somebody have 100? And the thing is, it could be more than, it could be like more like 200. It's just I stopped counting. And, I will touch upon a couple of his videos. It was really hard to narrow down like what to cut, like which videos, because like I said, it was over 100 and it was lots of videos just didn't get to. But let's finish the announcements. Let's like the stream. Let's get to 225. Also, if you're watching this on replay and you wish you were here to talk to the Jimmy Dore Derangement people in the comments, or talk to the Jimmy Dore fan if you're a Jimmy Dore Derangement person. So either way, if you are watching this on replay and wish you were here live, join our Substack. You will get notifications of when we go live and also clips. I think I sent out this notification was an hour, a little more than an hour. Yeah, and I had to push it back 15 minutes to get my girls out to grocery shop before I went live. So join our Substack so that you get notifications. If you're brand new here, make sure you subscribe. If you are a person that is already a subscriber, make sure you double check, because I myself can bear witness to, I was unsubscribed on one of my other YouTube channels from this channel last week, and I screenshot that and showed Nick. Okay, so yesterday, this is where we left off, and currently, let's see where we are now. For those that may not know, our target is 30,000, so we're kind of keeping track of this. If you're brand new here, so what is that? That is, I'm looking at the old number. So that is where we're at now, just about to cross 25,500. Thank you for those that have been sharing. Thank you for those that are brand new. And welcome to RBN. let's get back to the show. And again, let me just play the last parts of this MLK clip, and we'll dive into Obsession by Sam Sita. Let me pause it. Mute it because I don't want it to play everything here. So just the last few, let's do maybe 30 seconds here. Oops. No.
Believing that if you just leave things alone and not push too much, time will solve the problem. And it has always been my contention that this is an invalid view because it goes out with the idea that that is something in the very nature and structure of time that will miraculously solve all problems.
Right, as if time and progress is inevitable, or I'm sorry, let me say it this way, as if progress is inevitable just because time passes. Do we not see fascism making a reappearance? How is that when time has passed? So just the belief that these moderates, and he's speaking about white moderates in this clip, just time, just let's slow walk Medicare for all. We'll eventually get it. We'll get some committee seats. We'll add some more progressives, except for Palestine, Democrats to the team, to the squad. Let's finish the clip and let's move on to the topic here.
And time really is neutral. It can be used either constructively or destructively.
And that's the point he makes there. It can be used constructively or destructively. So great clip from MLK. Now let's check out the comments. Almost forgot everybody again. Sorry about that. I've done that many times where I'll say something and completely forget to go back to the comments. So let's go all the way to the top. Wow. Hold on a second here. I know you can hear my mouse because I have an old school mouse. Okay. This is the first comment. So on interview with Jackson Hinkle, when asked, what do you stand for? Sam SEDER, and I love how you spell SEDER that way. SEDER's answer, nothing, I stand for nothing. I stand for nothing. I remember that debate. I remember, and Louis, is this Mario is back? Mario's back. I wonder what this segment is about. What's up, Mario? It says John though. But if that's the same Mario from last week, I think it said Mario. As then BJG syndrome will be glued to obsessive minds such as Sam SEDER and Jordan Sheraton. So yes, and thank you for the comment, Monarch. I don't want to give away too much of the stream for tomorrow, but we will be covering Jordan tomorrow. And some more stuff. Mike Figueredo decided to tweet some more today. So we'll be covering all of that. Anyway, man, RBN is the best. Hire me. Are you looking to get hired? We don't have money. What the idea I have I'm gonna do is that we're gonna crowdfund or fundraise to pay for editors. That's one of the top things we need right now, why we don't have a lot more clips that come out. So we're gonna see if we can hire one and then raise money maybe each month to pay this person, because right now we just simply don't make money to pay anybody. But anyway, our email is revblacknetwork@gmail.com if you're interested in volunteering. I'm not saying specifically editors, because we do have some people that are volunteering, and I'll put, do I have the email? I don't have the email ready, but it's revblacknetwork@gmail.com. So, or you can go to our website and email us this from there. And it's same thing, revblacknetwork.com, or you can spell out the whole thing, revolutionaryblackoutnetwork.com. It's still under construction, but it doesn't look like it's under construction. So you can go there and submit a question or something like that. I don't know if it says question or note or something like that on there. Email addresses or other email addresses are on there also. So go ahead and do that if you're interested in that. All right, so let's continue with the comments. The fragrance top notes equals smugness, condescension. Middle notes, evasion, distraction. Base notes, empty principles. Love that comment. Thank you for that comment. Jimmy Dore invented student debt in order to deny people housing to maintain his 300 mansions because of racism, which he invented after he defeated fascism by voting in 2020. Now, Patrick, that's essentially what these people who have Jimmy Dore Derangement syndrome kind of speak in these sort of terms like that. Oh, wow, you counted down. So, wow, so those were all before we got started. So now these are the ones. All right, so here we go. Yes. I've never been on Twitter. I'm a Twitter virgin. Sounds awful. Not really. I mean, it's 300 and some odd million people. I'm not sure. It's a lot of people that's not on Twitter. So, Sam SEDER is so jealous of Jimmy. It's incredible. You know where I'm going in the stream, bro. And I have a clip where I think you can hear the reason in the clip. So I'm gonna play that clip later. Let me bring up one of the clips right now. Actually, this almost was the intro. So this next video I'm gonna bring up. This was the actual intro, and then I happened to stumble upon the long version of this clip of MLK, and inserted this because it still goes with the topic. But this, so imagine this being the intro. Okay, so let's imagine. So let me see where I stopped at John, because I know John, I'll remember that 2:30. So I'll come back to that part. I see the super chat, so don't worry, we're gonna get to that. But I do want to give you the whole effect. I am into film production, so I do want to give you the entire effect of how this was supposed to go with this clip. So let me give you that effect. Just bear with me here. Let me give you that effect.
Exactly in this. And he knows he's afraid of me. And he knows he's listening to my voice right now. Not exactly in this moment, after it goes out. I know he's listening to this.
Yeah.
You know it. Jimmy, you're a coward. You know it. I know it. Everybody else knows it. You want to be a tough guy, come be a tough guy. Come on the show. I'll invite you into the studio.
It's weird how he'll respond to me. He'll respond to Anna. He'll respond to Jamie when Jamie was working here. He won't respond to Matt. He won't respond to you. What is the through line that we're seeing here, huh?
Wow, that was some hidden she gave it away. I mean, is this serious? Now, I know Sam is kind of an actor. I'll put it back in here. I know Sam is kind of an actor, comedian, but is this serious? And the innuendos, the not so subtle innuendos at the end, like Jimmy only responds to Emma or females is what they were trying to not so secretly pretend. Is that he doesn't respond to any men because he's afraid, I guess. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what that means, but yeah, but they're implying something with that. So that that was the original intro. Excuse me. That was the original intro. Now, let me see. Okay, so let's do this one. This is a. I'm gonna skip the second thing I had. I'm gonna go to this because I have an idea here. So now let's go to this next part here. I'm gonna bring up some more of your comments in just a second. But he thought that Jimmy saying something at this time was stupid. So he said this level of stupidity comes around only a few times a lifetime. Enjoy. And I must say, I don't know if this at the time, oh, it actually did, because he got 4,000 likes. So at the time, maybe this hit. Like maybe he made a good point.
The Humanist Report.
Maybe that was the case. But this, in my opinion, let me make sure it's on the screen, has completely not aged well for Sam. Because now we have the benefit of time and history going by to see, let me say it this way. You tell me where the lie is in this clip.
The Humanist Report came out against you. Kyle Kalinske just turned on you. AOC. Did you see that video? Guess who else? Crystal Ball. Guess who else? Jimmy Dore. Guess who else? Medea Benjamin. Cornell. Everybody sees through you. Everybody sees through you. Except your fucking sycophant DSA dickheads in fucking Brooklyn. We see through you. Even my detractors see through you. That's right. Everybody sees through the squad now. And why, AOC? I'm telling, they're pushing her out there because she's the most sympathetic. And so idiots can say, stop attacking her when she is standing between you and healthcare and protecting Nancy Pelosi and her career. Key organizing moments may look like random uprisings and viral internet moments.
Now, maybe at the time, AOC's approval rating was better because it's 2020. Her approval rating was better. We hadn't seen so much terribleness from Joe Biden yet. There was no proxy war. There was no letter. There was no protest yet. None of that happened. So I'm sure there was quite a lot more people at the time that Sam posted this. And you can see it, 4,100 likes. Maybe that slapped at that time. Slapped translation. Maybe that hit the target at the time. Maybe that was right on point at the time. That's a better way of saying it. Not now. Not now. Have you seen AOC's approval rating? It's literally at Nancy Pelosi level. Have you seen her be completely destroyed online for the fake handcuffs? And all her other shenanigans, there's too many to name. I was going to start rambling, but there's too many to name. And this recent one with the protests, calling them right-wingers without talking about the substance. So, but this has completely not aged well for Sam. Because if I thought this was a recent video of Jimmy, I would be like, he's on fire today. So this is from December 2020. So we're literally talking, there has not been any Joe Biden administration yet. They take office about a month and a few days after that. So no Joe Biden administration. So just think back to that time. wouldn't you, who even you are watching, who aren't the biggest AOC fans, wouldn't you say you had an even slightly better opinion of her in 2021, in 2020, December 2020, before the Joe Biden administration, before the voting rights flop, before the Senate parliamentarian took away the $15 minimum wage, before the proxy war, before the votes for NATO? So if your negative scale was she was negative 100, maybe in 2020 you were only at a negative 25. So this completely has not aged well for Sam, because the squad, AOC, all of them being protested, have been completely exposed as the frauds that they are. So let's listen. Oh, wow. It's only a 2-minute video. So let's listen to all of it. We got a minute and a half to go. Let's listen.
Why AOC? I'm telling, they're pushing her out there because she's the most sympathetic. And so idiots can say, stop attacking her when she is standing between you and healthcare and protecting Nancy Pelosi and her career. Key organizing moments may look like random uprisings and viral internet moments to some, but they aren't. They are the results of years of targeting, organizing, and people's movements. This took 2 weeks. This took 2 weeks. This took 2 weeks. From someone who already went bankrupt from medical bills. It took 2 weeks. How long you been fucking working on this? I figured this out in 2 weeks, AOC. You liar, you coward, you gaslighter, you standing in the way of people in healthcare. You run on healthcare and then you deny it to us. You dangle it in front of your fucking constituents. And then when you get there, you don't lift a fucking finger. And I'm the problem? Fuck you.
I'm going to replay that. Where was the lie? Where is the lie here? I did not hear one. So let me ask this question. Why does Sam think that this is a bad thing? Why is Sam being a Captain Save a politician? Why is that? So, or let's ask the question this way. To his audience, would this look a little crazy to his audience? The audience that likes the AOC, loves AOC? The audience that votes for Democrats? So let me read what it says here again. It just says, and this person here says, Jimmy Dore melts down on AOC lying that she voted for the CARES Act. Fuck you. You already voted for the CARES Act. Fuck you. And fuck anybody who is protecting her. Fucking. Fuck you. What? Okay, I didn't hear that. I did hear that. Fuck you. And you voted for the CARES Act. He's going to say that. We haven't gotten to that part yet. So you go through, is it the video is a minute and 40 and 54 seconds. You exclude a minute and 50 seconds and you take the 4 seconds when he maybe mischaracterized her as voting for the CARES Act. And that's your whole tweet. You notice how they never talk about the actual substance. Is he incorrect? What did she do about forced to vote? This is around forced to vote, by the way. And we also have the benefit of the article that just recently came out. And the article, I was just covering this yesterday. I'll bring it up here. And the article was talking about how now that they're losing power, meaning they don't have that leverage to force the speaker to force things to the floor because they just lost the majority. Ryan Grimm does this softball piece for her And she talks about how basically my bad. I'm learning power. I'm learning how to wield power, is what she said in that interview. Actually, I won't bring it up. I don't need to revisit the interview. So let's go to some more comments, because I promised I would go back. Let's go to some more comments, and let's go back to where I left off. And I'm going to finish the video, and then, wow, this is a lot of comments. Welcome to everybody that's here. I'm happy you're here and commenting. I don't mind doing the scrolling. It is a lot, but I don't mind doing the scrolling, long as you're doing the talking. That's what I like. Okay, so I'm approaching back at John. All right, so now let's go through some comments. Sam SEDER is so jealous. Yes, I put that one up already. Love the clips you start and end with. Janice Anderson. Thank you, Janice. Love to I think the clips connect now to the past, because it can radicalize a person to go, wait a minute, he's saying the same thing in a clip 40 years ago that's still going on now, and this is the process. Fuck this voting shit. Because what do you mean voting? Look what happened. They've been talking about the same shit. Police reform. They literally been talking about police reform literally since Jim Crow. I mean, Reconstruction. Sorry. Literally been talking about that since then. Is my cat at the door? I know my girls are gone, but I hear something. Hey fam, hope y'all are doing good tonight. Yes, everybody's looks good. Let's continue down. Hey fam, Zoya is in the house. I didn't mean to go that way, but all these people, Sam, Kyle, David, Mike, TYT, Vash, Hassan, just take a look at their video page. Look at the titles of their videos. 90% talking about complete fluff. And that's spot on. Talking about complete garbage. I don't know how many times on there they're going to bring up, is it Prager? Is it Michael Prager? Is that a person? They talk about that guy a lot on there, bringing up some kind of debate or something. A lot of culture war. A lot of Fox said this. I mean, I guess that's what they do. Yes, hit that like button. 225 was the last target. I'm not sure if we hit it, but that was the last target. JB did a great episode today. Check it out after this. Absolutely, he did. Food insecurity. Yeah. Great video you gave him, Zoya. I saw this yesterday. The Jimmy Dore Hour with CJ. Absolutely. There is no left. I get the sentiment. I do. Echo Park. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Echo Park. I know Echo Park. Agree, CJ. Smash the like button for CJ. Samantha. All right, so let's. I'm not really a debate guy. For our debates, like when somebody wants to debate RBN, we have our technically our debate guy is Nick. Nick is our debater. I suppose Sabby is one of our debaters. I'm not sure myself and Rome have the right temperament for a debate. So, because dumb shit, I can't be silent about you saying some dumbass shit, you know? So, not sure I would be the right person for that. So yeah. All right. So let me just skirt down here to the bottom. I love JB's book club reading, and same thing with Robert Duran. CJ is excellent at research. It's intriguing to me to look up old stuff. RBN is definitely Sam SEDER obsessed. We are. And I think, well, I don't know how to say your name. You Norker. So I don't recall your name, so I'm gonna just assume you're new. But since you're new, and since maybe a lot of people that have this question, specifically, we all kind of have different parts we sort of handle. Let's just put it that way. As you saw JB's stream, JB does like very emotional stories that may get you crying. He does these stories that takes a lot of emotion out of you. You know, Jalen Walker being shot 60 times, showing like he does a lot of that type of thing. Sabby is she is patrolling media along with other things. She's doing patrolling media and in community activism, as far as trying to get people into it, talking to bringing people on, activists on, having like an interview, almost all of her episodes. Then we have Nick, who's our foreign policy and police state. So he kind of talks about those, or that's his top thing, but he does other things. Rome is our guy on the street, is doing our mutual aid, is doing our work in the community. And then I am the person here to dispel the white liberal. I'm here for that. So my designation is the white liberal that's pretending to be our friend. So you'll see me do a lot of David Sirota. You'll see me do a lot of Marianne Williamson. You'll see me do, that's why I will do like Sam SEDER, Cenk Uygur. The ones who, no, I'm your friend, I'm for you, but they're not. So yes. So I would say, if somebody said, are we, or at least me, I would say me, because I'm the one that's doing the content. I would say yes. If you told me that's your description of what I do, I would not have a problem with it at all. So absolutely. All right. So I feel like I did enough comments. I want to get back into the topic. So let's get back into, not that we went out, but let's get back to the video is a better way of saying it. I'll rewind it just a little bit and let him finish his thing. Now, I don't know if she voted for CARES Act. I guess I can Google it real quick. So if he did say that at the end, if he says that as a person in the in this tweet says, then that would be incorrect. So let's listen.
And I'm the problem? Fuck you. You already voted for the CARES Act. Fuck you. And fuck anybody who is protecting her. Fuck you. You just keep digging in deeper.
Okay, so AOC says she feels in danger in current. I'm trying to see if she voted for the CARES Act. Nothing in the headline. Inflates. I don't want to have to read all this stuff. So I don't know. Let's see if somebody in the comments put if she did or not. Okay. She voted for it. They act like she didn't. Okay. I did not. I'm sorry. You guys are all saying it in the comments, and somebody said phone on. Sorry, I was reading the thing. But anyway, so she did vote for it. But where do you spot the lie? Rhetorical question. I don't spot a lie there. So let's go to what video? I'm gonna save that the video. So this is what I wrote down. This video may show or indicate one of the reasons Sam is so obsessed with Jimmy. It may be jealousy of Jimmy. Let's check out this video where Sam examines Jimmy's interview on the Joe Rogan Experience. So that's the video we're going to play. I'm just giving you a heads up, but that's not the next one. I want to bring up this article, and I'm sure many of you have seen this article here. But we've had this writer, this journalist, I should say, on Dan Cohen. He was on for one of our Haiti streams, and I'm sure you've seen this because this video, many people have seen this video that I'm going to play here. But Dan Cohen was on for our Haiti coverage. He's one of those journalists that goes into dangerous places, and he's out there. So let me take the banner around. Let's read a little bit of what he wrote and look at the title here. And look who's pictured. Meet the pseudo-left imperialists fighting against universal health care. You see Ben Dixon here. You see Nominky Kuntz. You see Sam SEDER. You see Anna Kasparian. And you see Cenk Uygur along with AOC and Mama Bear back there. Now, and of course, Jimmy Dore is here. Now, we're going to just read the part about Sam SEDER because they do talk about, he does talk about other things. And when we get to the video too, the same thing. Okay, so let me blow this up slightly here, mainly because I need to see better. I don't see as good. So let's read a little bit of this. Over the past week, comedian Jimmy Dore has single-handedly exposed a collection of self-styled leaders of the progressive media as imperialist hacks joined at the hip with the Democratic Party and NATO. It's so funny. This is not a current article, but just this line, just first sentence could apply now in the proxy war in their votes. We call them the NATO left now. The NATO squad. Or the NATO left if we include Rokana and all the other ones and Bernie Sanders. But let's continue. It all started when Dore, a self-described jack-off pothead comedian, called for progressive members of Congress to withhold their vote for Nancy Pelosi as speaker until she agreed to hold a 4 vote on Medicare for all. I just wanted to set the scene. So now, set what the article is about. So now let's scroll down here to when they start talking about Sam. Rather than debate the merits of his proposals, figures like Nominky Kuntz, Anna Kasparian, Ben Dixon, Cenk Uygur honed in on Dore's personality, doing all they could. You notice that? He's saying they went away from the substance and went to personality. Doing all they could to deflect from the substance of the issue and insulting their hero, AOC. So they were playing Captain Save a Politician, Captain Save a AOC. The YouTube channel of longtime MSNBC contributor Sam SEDER became a theater for the meltdown over Jimmy Dore's rogue campaign for a Medicare for All vote. In the past week alone, SEDER has done 2 lengthy segments devoted to smearing Jimmy Dore. During one 23-minute segment, podcaster and failed New York political advocate candidate Nominky Kuntz launched a McCarthyite attack on Dore, accusing him of taking what she called Assad money. Now, I'll stop there, but let's zero in where you can see here Oops. Even he's noticing Jimmy Dore, I'm sorry, Sam SEDER doing a lot of content on Jimmy Dore. 23-minute segment. I don't know the last time they've uploaded a 23-minute video, or how often I should say, but it's not often. Let's go back to the right. Okay, so let's now play the video on here. It essentially says the same thing I just said, but it goes in a little more. So let's watch a couple minutes of it. How do I make this bigger here? Here we go. Let's X this out, and let's watch a couple minutes of it. Like he's gonna retread some of the things I just said. So, let's listen. And like I said, a lot of you have already seen this video, so this is just a refresher.
Over the past week, comedian Jimmy Dore has single-handedly exposed the collection of self-styled leaders of progressive media as imperialist hacks joined at the hip with the Democratic Party and NATO. It all started when Dore, a self-described jagoff pothead comedian, called for progressive members of Congress to withhold their votes for Nancy Pelosi as House Speaker until she agreed to hold a floor vote on Medicare for All. With a pandemic raging and Americans losing their jobs and healthcare, it seemed like the perfect way to hold Democrats' feet to the fire. But Dore's push apparently threatened the most prominent progressive in Congress, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. After she rejected his tactic in a series of tweets, deferring to the House Speaker she's referred to lovingly as Mama Bear, a group of prominent podcasters sprang to her defense and then launched a wave of personalized, vicious, and ultimately revealing attacks on Dore. Rather than debate the merits of his proposal, figures like Nomiki Konst, Anna Kasparian, Ben Dixon, and Cenk Uygur honed in on Dore's personality, doing all they could to deflect from the substance of the issue and insulating their hero, AOC. The YouTube channel of longtime MSNBC contributor Sam SEDER became a theater for meltdown over Jimmy Dore's rogue campaign for an M4A floor vote. The past week alone, SEDER has done 2 lengthy segments devoted to smearing Jimmy Dore. During one 23-minute segment, podcaster and failed New York public advocate candidate Nomiki Konst launched a McCarthyite attack on Dore, accusing him of taking what she called Assad money.
This is a clickbait game. This is about fame. There are hosts on air who want to make change. I think all of us are really concerned about educating our audience and bringing on informed people to help us understand everything, issues and how to move through and push for these change. And then there are hosts who want to be multimillionaires and famous. And, let's just make those lines very clear. Yeah. So and not to mention, he has taken money admitted to taking money from pro-Assadist groups. So he's not the pure guy that he wants to pretend is the guy who took Assad money.
This was not just a neocon-style distraction, but a total lie. What Konst called Assad money had no relation to Assad. She was referring to a $2,500 donation from a US-based anti-war nonprofit called the Association for Investment in Popular Action Committees. Does relief work in Cuba, Palestine, and Syria, targets of Washington's ruthless hybrid warfare. This nonprofit has also organized openly against the US proxy war on Syria. The Assad money trope Konst deployed originated from a bogus investigation published by the notorious disinformation shop called Bellingcat. This outlet has been funded by the UK Foreign Office and the National Endowment for Democracy, a CIA cutout created under the Reagan administration. An ex-CIA agent gushed about Bellingcat's role as a clearinghouse for US and UK intelligence, declaring, "We love this. Instead of trying to have things cleared or worry about classification issues, you could just reference their work." In other words, Konst smeared Jimmy Dore with a phony talking point that originated from a de facto CIA cutout. Very progressive. Konst.
We'll stop there because it goes on into some of the other ones, more on Nomiki, and then some other ones. So we'll stop that part there, and let me bring up the next part. Where is it? Yeah, I'm not gonna insert that. I do have a video of Mike. I just gotta insert it somewhere. But what? Okay, sorry. All right, so let's bring up the video with about Joe Rogan, where I feel like it could possibly hear the reason for this obsession with Jimmy Dore. So let's bring this video up here and let's wait for it to fully open and then we'll check it out. All right, so it's fully open here. If you want to check it out, it's called Jimmy Dore Appears on the Joe Rogan Experience, Totally Misrepresents the Left. So let's go on. Oh, I don't know why it didn't stop. All right, so let's listen to Sam SEDER.
Before we go, a couple of people sent this, and we talked about this the other day in the context of Joe Rogan. That Joe Rogan had mentioned us on the show because of a video that we had done about him and Doug Stanhope and this and that. And people were emailing me. They were upset. They were like, Joe Rogan is inviting Kyle Kulinski and Jimmy Dore on the show. And he should invite you. And I was like, look, I'm happy for anybody from the left to get on that show to promote left.
He just said, I'm happy that anybody on the left. Let me see when this video was done. Okay, so this video is 4 years old at least. All right, so he was happy. He referred to Jimmy as a leftist 4 years ago at least. Okay.
Left issues. The problem is that and do we have those screenshots? We should have two. We need that other one, Brendan. He doesn't have it. The one from the Reddit. Okay. So I don't see it here, but part of the problem is, and make sure you get it, Matt. One of the problems with this is that like I've been saying, look,
it seemed like he was holding in what he really wanted to say to the person that he pays, his employee. It seemed like I didn't catch this the first time I watched it. It seemed like you know that clip of King Charles when he first took the crown after the death of Queen Elizabeth, and it shows him like telling somebody to get this plate out of the way, like his workers, like that. If you've seen that clip, I'm sorry if you haven't seen it. Sorry if you haven't seen it, but if you've seen that clip, you know what I'm talking about. It's basically he's telling his servant, hurry up. That's basically the same thing we see here. Like you can see him want to say something like else, but he stops himself. But let's listen.
I don't see it here, but the part
I didn't rewind it far enough back. It's funny.
Oh,
shows his class
to promote.
I don't mean class as in type of person. I mean class as in economic status.
Left issues. The problem is that and do we have those screenshots? We should have two. We need that other one, Brendan. He doesn't have it. The one from the Reddit.
Right there. I'm gonna let this play. When he says which one, you see that shit come out where he's like, oh, I'm on camera. Just having fun. All right, so let's go. I'll let you see it again. Listen to when he says which one or something like that.
I have two. We need that other one, Brendan. He doesn't have it. The one from the Reddit. Okay. So I don't see it here, but the part of the problem
and you better get
is, and make sure you get it. One of the problems with this is that Like I've been saying, look, I don't care about Jimmy as a person. I don't care about, I mean, it would be nice if he was actually did any work. But the problem is that I've suggested is that when you have somebody going around doing stuff like Hillary Clinton has Parkinson's, or, the Seth Rich murder, is it tied to the DNC? Asking those type of questions, right? Okay. That stuff poisons the well. It poisons the well and the water supply and the product that I'm selling, which may very well be the exact.
Let's play that again.
Asking those type of questions, right? Okay. That stuff poisons the well. It poisons the well and the water supply and the product that I'm selling, which may very well be the exact same political program, more or less, than Jimmy's. For Jimmy, he's willing to trade things like what's happening with ICE to these people for a vague notion of the words Green New Deal, which had, of course, no chance of coming about. But as long as, but that self-satisfaction and whatnot, that's all well and good. But here's where the real problem lies. Here is Jimmy Dore on the Joe Rogan show.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
That's why I get. So
Excuse me. The Joe Rogan Experience.
Barack Obama's entire cabinet came from an email from Citigroup. Okay, so people trying to say that somehow corruption started on January 20th, 2017, are fooling themselves, and that's what I'm fighting against.
Yes,
on my
you
show.
are, and you're one of the only people that are doing that. You're one of the only people that are online that you're not obligated to shill for the left. You're
right.
You're not.
So understand the dynamic here. If you remember the comment he made about going on the Joe Rogan show, and I think he's going to make another one about shouldn't you go on or something like that, they get in a conversation. But clearly, Joe Rogan is the podcast all podcasters want to get on. And he's feeling some type of way because he hasn't been invited on the Joe Rogan Experience, and Jimmy Dore has. So he has to go and nitpick Jimmy Dore's interview, which clearly shows his jealousy, and you can hear it throughout this video. So let me back it up 1 second and let it play again.
Started on January 20th, 2017, are fooling themselves, and that's what I'm fighting against.
Yes,
on my
you
show.
are, and you're one of the only people that are doing that.
There's another thing that's probably fueling Sam SEDER is to hear Joe Rogan say, you're one of the only people doing it online. How does that make Sam SEDER feel? So let's listen to some more.
You're one of the only people that are online that you're not obligated to shill for the left. You're
right.
You're not doing it, but everybody else seems to be. I don't mean everybody
Pause
else.
it now. Here's the interesting thing: is that, and I don't know why Jimmy didn't make this distinction more.
Now, the only point that has been made. I should have waited until he said pause it before I said my comment because I already gave it away. Nothing has been said substantively for him to stop to comment. The only thing that has been said is Jimmy Dore is doing it, and it is like not shielding for the Democratic Party, and that's where he stops it. Why would he pick that point to stop it? And we're going to hear why. So let's listen.
You're not obligated to shill for the left. You're not doing it, but everybody else seems to be. I don't mean everybody
Pause
else.
it now. Now here's the
Everybody else seems to be shielding for the Democratic Party. Why would he pause it there? So either he's pausing it to talk about either the point of everybody else is doing it, or that Jimmy, I'm sorry, hold on a second here. How did he phrase it? Because I want to say it the same way.
2017 are fooling themselves, and that's what I'm fighting against.
Yes,
on my
you
show.
are, and you're one of the only people that are doing that. You're one of the only people that are online that you're not obligated to shill for the left. You're not doing it, but everybody else seems to be.
That part, everybody else seems to be. So he's taking offense at one of the two statements. So let's listen to his answer.
I don't mean everybody
Pause
else.
it now. Now here's the interesting thing is that, and I don't know why Jimmy didn't make this distinction more pointedly. I don't think Jimmy would say that he that there are people who are obligated to shill for the left, as much as there are people that in their context would be obligated to shill for the Democrats. But for Rogan, these are interchangeable ideas. Because
doing it, but everybody else seems to be. I don't mean everybody else. If you're one of the people that are not.
So let's play what he said again, because I wanted to let it play all the way through before we make comments. So let's go.
You're not doing it, but everybody else seems to be. I don't mean everybody
Pause
else.
it now. Now here's the interesting thing is that, and I don't know why Jimmy didn't make this distinction more pointedly. I don't think Jimmy would say that he that there are people who are obligated to shill for the left, as much as there are people that in their context would be obligated to shill for the Democrats. But for Rogan, these are interchangeable.
I'm trying to get the point that he's
shill
making
for the left.
So bear with me as I'm
make
trying
this distinction more pointedly. I don't think Jimmy would say that he that there are people who are obligated to shill for the left, as much as there are people that in their context would be obligated to shill for the Democrats. But for Rogan, these are interchangeable ideas. Because
doing it, but everybody else seems to be.
So he's just making the distinction, shielding for the left and shielding for the Democrats. And he's saying there to him is no distinction because there is no distinction in the duopoly world. Sam, you know that there's no distinction. You see it on Fox News. Everybody from Joe Manchin to AOC is the left. So all of those people are included in the Democratic Party. So that is the same thing if we're talking about the duopoly.
I don't mean everybody else. If you're one of the people that are not, like, fuck you, Joe Rogan.
There's just a handful of people who are not, Joe.
There's so few. There's so few that are calling out people in the Democratic Party for what really is going on. Like, I was infuriated when people that I knew that I was friends with were trying to tell me that Hillary Clinton was a good choice. And that's the same choice.
pause it now. Of course, he's talking about in the race with Donald Trump, and I would still contend, and I think there's even mounting evidence now that Hillary Clinton was the better choice between those two.
And not a good choice in general, like in the grand scheme of things. There's no contradiction between those two things.
None whatsoever. We have a system where there was if anybody, I would have taken any dollar amount ever from anybody that who wanted to bet that either Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton would not win.
Yep.
I would have.
So he doesn't see what he's doing as shielding for the Democrats. He sees what he's doing as just shielding for the right answer. You see, that's the point that he's making in the Hillary Clinton versus Donald Trump. Because I don't see where he sees this clear evidence that Hillary Clinton would have been less evil than Donald Trump. I don't see that. And I'm talking with the judicial requirements. So let's say we keep Roe v. Wade legal, right? With Hillary Clinton, but we're in a nuclear war, because if you think Joe Biden is a hawk, Hillary Clinton is more hawkish than him. So, and I believe she was a reason, because there was a disagreement in the cabinet when they went in Libya, and I believe she was one of the people like, no, let's go into Libya, if my recollection recalls correctly. But let's listen.
I would have bet every single thing I own and things I don't own, and nobody would take a bet otherwise who was sane. But roll it back and let's just hear. So now I don't expect Jimmy Dore to take a different position, because his position throughout the thing was that lesser of evilism is I don't know what, but more or less I'm sure they're going to agree here. But go ahead.
That Hillary Clinton was a good choice, and that's the same choice. I'm like, oh, look, I don't know if she's murdered people, but I know that I worry that she's murdered people. That's a real. I really wonder. Like this Seth Rich shit.
I know. First of all, just leave. You don't even need to go there. You know.
Pause it for 1 second. That's interesting. You don't even have to go there. Try to think of somebody who went there. Can we just pull up that image for a second? What's that one? Who is this here? Did DNC staffer Seth Rich murder tied to WikiLeaks? Guess who went there? That's odd. There's Jimmy Dore sitting there next to a picture of Seth Rich.
So my wife is in here doing stuff, so you're gonna hear her knocking around stuff. You notice in the video with Joe Rogan, he says, let's not go there. The podcast where it's like 10 million views. I don't remember what he gets, but 10 million or something is high. But Sam SEDER says, I don't get how he's connecting some content that Jimmy did on his own channel. If he believes in the Seth, whatever, I don't know what's going on with this story, but whatever the Seth Richard, or whatever the guy name is, if he believes it and it's on his channel, what does that have to do with him being on Joe Rogan? If he didn't say it. So let me replay that again. The point that I'm trying to make is, do you see how this is a clear indication to me? A clear indication to me, because it's not like Jimmy spoke more, gave more detail about what he thought about that. He just says we don't need to go there and went on. So for me, if Sam is saying like that's an egregious thing, simply that he just says I'm going to move past that, this conspiracy theory, while on his show, wouldn't that be a good thing? If you're Sam SEDER and you believe that is not true, wouldn't that be a good thing? But Sam SEDER is making it seem like, look, Jimmy did this on his show. And what is the point, Sam? So let's play. I'm kind of getting my head in myself, because there is parts of this. Anyway, let me just let it play.
I know. First of all, just leave. You don't even need to go there. You know.
Pause it for 1 second. That's interesting. You don't even have to go there. Try to think of somebody who went there. Can we just pull up that image for a second? What's that one? Who is this here? Did DNC staffer Seth Rich murder tied to WikiLeaks? Guess who went there? That's odd. There's Jimmy Dore sitting there next to a picture of Seth Rich. There you go. Oh, but he got 116,000 views out of that one. That's good.
Does this not sound like a petty, jealous motherfucker right here? Does not sound like that to you? And how he's saying it, and the way he's saying it is also evidence of what I'm talking about here. Think about what he thinks he's making a point. He's bringing up the title of his video is Jimmy Dore on Joe Rogan. And he's saying I have no problem with other left. And let me tell you all the problems I had. What problem did you have with him going on the show? Because you're pointing out a video that wasn't on the show. So what? Let me just let it play.
All right, let's go back to the interview with Joe Rogan here, because Jimmy Dore, of course, doesn't respond to the Seth Rich thing. Instead of saying, hey, actually, no, the issue with Hillary Clinton had to do with her politics, not the fact that you think she might have killed somebody because you've been listening to Rush Limbaugh for 30 years telling you that Vince Foster was secretly murdered. Like, there's no room for sanity in this conversation.
Like, this is a real overreach. This is real overreach from 30 seconds of a conversation. He's saying, he is saying from 30 seconds that has been shown, if that hasn't even been 30 seconds, then how there is no sanity.
Course, doesn't respond to the Seth Rich thing. Instead of saying, hey, actually, no, the issue with Hillary Clinton had to do with her politics, not the fact that you think she might have killed somebody because you've been listening to Rush Limbaugh for 30 years telling you that Vince Foster was secretly murdered. Like, there's no room for sanity in this conversation now.
Or what have you?
Because Jimmy has already forfeited that.
Jimmy is a person being interviewed. He mentioned Seth Richards, and Jimmy basically says, skip over that. You don't have to mention that. And because Jimmy says, let's move to something else, Jimmy has allowed this conversation to now not be credible. This is a stretch. Like, this is a stretch. But to me, it's very revealing. Very revealing to me. Sam Sealer is clearly jealous of Jimmy Dore, along with other things, but he is clearly jealous of Jimmy Dore. Let's see if he goes back to the video, because anyway, let's see if he goes back to the video.
Thing. Instead of saying, hey, actually, no, the issue with Hillary Clinton had to do with her politics, not the fact that you think she might have killed somebody because you've been listening to Rush Limbaugh for 30 years.
So he's supposed to go on Joe Rogan's show and tell him all of this stuff because you've been listening to Joe Rogan for 30 years. That's what he's supposed to do. And because Jimmy didn't do that, the title of the video is totally misrepresents the left.
Telling you that Vince Foster was secretly murdered. Like, there's no room for sanity in this conversation now.
Or what have you?
Because Jimmy has already forfeited that.
Right.
And that's the problem. The value of Jimmy going on to this show is already undercut because he can't respond to the idea that Joe Rogan doesn't want to vote for him.
Because Jimmy Dore doesn't participate in Captain Save a Politician. Now, think back to what they said in the beginning of the interview with Joe Rogan. You don't feel the need to shield for them. How is with Sam SEDER not exactly what the point was in the video at the start of the interview on Joe Rogan? How is this not shielding for the Democratic Party? How is this not shielding for Hillary Clinton specifically? And he's basically scolding Jimmy for not shielding a Democratic lion-ass politician. A corrupt, that's what he's saying. And because he doesn't play Captain Save a politician, this conversation is completely insane now. Anyway, let's play.
Hillary Clinton because he thinks she may have murdered somebody. But continue. And I would add that Seth Rich was killed after the election. So I don't know who he thought that she had killed before then. I guess he must be Vince Foster. This would be
It feels like he's making this video so he can be on MSNBC. And they can say, look, he's going out defending Hillary Clinton. Let's invite him back on to contribute. It doesn't make any sense why he's going on this rant about Seth Richards when he says, let's move on, or whatever to that effect. Does this make sense?
It'd be a great time to say, you know, this is one of the problems in our politics, Joe. And that is that, like, because Rush Limbaugh was on there and there was an entire conspiracy thing arguing that Vince Foster had been murdered and dragged his body to the park.
What if you enlarged it? And what if you said, you know, every single president of the United States is at the very least complicit in murder just via the design of our foreign policy, Joe?
Yeah,
like, you know,
there's a million
ways
ways to do that. But Jimmy can't do that because when Joe Rogan brings up Seth Rich, look, it takes a while for Jimmy to figure out how to answer this because Jimmy went in on this. Now, maybe Joe Rogan said, like, I couldn't vote for somebody in good conscience who was so clearly had Parkinson's. And Joe would have the same problem. I mean, excuse me, Jimmy would have the same problem because he did multiple videos on that. But go ahead.
And that's the same choice. I'm like, look, I don't know if she's murdered people, but I know that I worry that she's murdered people. That's a real, I really wonder. Like this
she has murdered or has had people murdered. And I'm not talking about Seth Richards.
Seth Rich shit?
I know. First of all, just leave. You don't even need to go there. You know,
there's so many other things.
There's so many other things that we know for a fact.
The Clinton Foundation, for instance.
So, the Iraq War.
What do we know about the Clinton Foundation?
Doesn't this feels like a I'm defending Hillary Clinton video, doesn't it? So it's almost like he's proving two things. He's proving what they initially said. He is shielding for the Democratic Party. And he's not shielding for the left. You notice how he made a distinction, how Joe Rogan sees those things as two different things. I mean, as the same thing. Sam SEDER does not. Sam SEDER is shielding for the Democratic Party. Sam SEDER is not shielding for the left. Okay? So, and he's going to go right into doing it. Let's continue.
For sure. Bill Clinton right now, look, I don't know anything for sure about the Clinton Foundation. I know that Bill Clinton, in a pretty crafty move, spent the past couple of days in the Virgin Islands in Puerto Rico, delivering all sorts of medical shit, which is clearly a way to set up Chelsea Clinton's run in 30 years. Could be. We get 30 years of charity work so that she can have a run, but it's all just to cover up the Vince Foster thing.
The Clinton thing was another thing that muddied the waters, though. I just say, like, of course, they took tons of money from people that wanted to have a good relationship with them, including foreign governments and corporations, because that's who they are. And that's a big problem in and of itself. But this flipped conspiratorial thing is
right.
different.
But I mean, compare that to Donald Trump,
who
he's also undoubtedly took money from people. Like that's
no.
Those
I
are
run
the
a clean
people
ship.
who run for president.
I run a clean ship.
Those are the people who run for president. Right. But and then here's the thing. Jimmy goes
and it's the same thing I did in the video titled Jimmy, where I examine where is all the hate coming from for Jimmy, and you know what it is, and it's showing in this video too. When Jimmy decided to go against the Democratic Party, that's when he became a problem for them. So they're clearly doing this because he is against the Democratic Party. Think about it. Where do they have a problem with him except for in the realm that deals with the Democratic Party and their candidates? They're attacking him because they're shielding for the Democratic Party. That's why they're attacking him. And the Clinton Foundation, let's bring something else up here. I'll come back to this clip, but let's bring this up. World Socialist website, Clinton Foundation raked in cash from right-wing regimes, corporations. So the Sam, or I like this name, Sam, I don't care, SEDER. So he's shielding for the Democratic Party, shielding for Hillary Clinton, shielding for Hillary Clinton, Democratic Party, and shielding for the Clinton Foundation. I don't know if something's wrong with the Clinton Foundation, but I know he was down there doing all this good shit. You mean taking cash from right-wing regimes? Several press reports last week highlighted details of the major donors to the Bill, Hillary, and Chelsea Clinton Foundation. Including right-wing Persian Gulf monarchs, big defense contractors, and an array of corporations and governments seeking influence with the U.S. political establishment and potentially in the next White House. Founded in 2001, after the end of Bill Clinton's second term as president, the foundation has raised and distributed huge amounts of money, reaching nearly $2 billion. After a brief drop in fundraising, coinciding with Hillary Clinton's term, they're trying to point out something here. After a brief drop in fundraising coinciding with Hillary Clinton's term as Secretary of State from 2009 to 2013, when most foreign donations were discouraged because of conflict of interest concerns, donations jumped 100 million in 2013, reaching $262 million. And I'll stop there because this is not the topic, but I just needed to insert this receipt in here since he's bringing up the Clinton Foundation as if he doesn't know that these people are corrupt and terrible. So he's clearly shielding for the Democratic Party. And you answer this question. Who is the biggest non-establishment talking head that still refuses to go along with the Democratic Party? Is that not Jimmy Dore? Do you notice all of the people who are still the reformers, the boutique, the pseudo left, the TYTs, those people? All of them have the same opinion, the same exact reasons. All of them support and defend and play Captain Save a Politician. This is it. They want you to believe it's something else. This is it. And I'll pause here because I'm getting more super chats. So let's read super chats here. Let's pause a second to read super chats before they get too piled up. I think I have 6 maybe. But let's see. All right, is there an order here? Yeah, so this one here, I'll go in order. So Susan Jacobson, thank you so much for your super chat. And that was actually before we got, wait. No, we were started. Okay. And then we got this one here. Sam SEDER actually loves Jimmy Dore because his existence give him cover for being anti-healthcare, pro-war, and anti-labor. This is a fucking great point. One that I did not think of, why I love our community. Chipping in with some great points. I'll read it again. Sam SEDER actually loves Jimmy Dore because his existence gives him cover for being anti-healthcare, pro-war, and anti-labor. Because Jimmy Dore's for it, so I'm against it. It gives him cover. Again, he shields for the Democrats. He doesn't shield for the left, and he made a point in this video that I'm playing of his to make sure you understood that there was two different things. Because a person who shields for the Democrats and shields for the left, I don't think necessarily would stop the video to make the point. They would just let it play. But if you're doing one and not the other, you'll go, hold on, let me make this point. So great point. Thank you for the super chat. Big Chiba, I think is how you say it. Danny Gomez, thank you for the super chat. PMC culture works to covertly propagate elitism. It's not being covert anymore, but I do understand what you're saying, Danny. Thank you for the super chat. Super Seamster Sewing Show. Thanks for your take. No prisoners. True left stands. Thank you for your super chat. And this one here, Jordan Sheraton and hang on a second. When was this? Okay, so I did it out of order. I did the newer. I don't know how these guys. I thought they were placed in order, but they weren't. So this one was earlier. Jordan Sheraton and Sam Sheepherder. Thank you, Kel Jones. I think I said that right. And Edward, thank you for the $5. Sam's, oops, I had a pop up. I know you can't see it, but I can't. Sam SEDER, the one-man majority. That's pretty funny. Thank you for the super sticker. Abiding 71. And £5 from Nima. Vanguard just said they're the only principal channel on YouTube in response to a super chat about Arby. Ah, that's funny. That is funny. So somebody did a super chat in their stream, and the super chat was about us. That's funny. Wow. So those are the super chats. Let me make sure no other ones came in here. I think I got all of them. If by chance I missed you, it is not intentional. All right, so let's get back to the video. And since we're here, like the video, let's see if we can get to 550. We're just crossing 500 likes right now. Let's see if we can get 550 likes, and let's continue with the video.
Goes on to make a lot of different points that I more or less agree with.
Yeah, he's on the ball with the Iraq stuff, I think.
Sure. Although, John Kerry also voted for the Iraq war. for. And it would have been better to have him than George W. Bush.
No kidding.
Um,
I don't know if you just got the point that he had to stop to make with Michael Brooks. Michael Brooks gave Jimmy Dore credit, said, no, he's spot on. I think he said Iraq. But then he says, hold on. John Kerry voted for the Iraq War, and he would have been a lot better than George Bush. I think it's a curious thing to make a point of, but let's continue.
And Donald Trump was supportive. Now, he wasn't a senator, but Barack Obama was also against the Iraq War. I mean, he goes on to talk about how Donald Trump, people got really hoodwinked by Donald Trump because they thought he was going to be non-interventionist. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that the guy who started Trump University was able to hoodwink people?
I think there were also some people in the media zone who did correctly anticipate that Donald Trump's anti-intervention thing wasn't exactly something to bank.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, I also thought
a couple of clairvoyants out there might have been able to see through that veneer.
Sam and I were real
criminologists.
We were real Miss Cleo on that shit, right? Because we also thought when he directly called for war crimes in his campaign rallies that might have been also a tell.
Right, yeah. The pro-torture, the overt pro-torture calls may have been an indication.
The pig's blood thing.
Yeah.
Pig's blood thing.
Maybe.
Bomb the shit out of them, steal their oil.
Could have gone either way. A little
bit of a heads up.
They're a little funny. They're a little funny.
But here's the real problem is that because Jimmy could not push back on stuff like Seth Rich and whatnot, the value of his going on that show is diminished. Exhibit A. Here is the Donald Trump Reddit board.
So because he wasn't invited, he's throwing a tantrum and he's saying he's literally, I don't know, this is the nitpickiest of the nitpicky that you can get. Doesn't bring up Seth Richards to his audience that is way bigger. Shouldn't you be saying good? Shouldn't you be having a video saying, thank God, the craziness, I mean, from his point of view, the craziness that Jimmy Dore put about Seth Richards, a good thing he didn't bring it up on Joe Rogan. Shouldn't that be the take? This video to me clearly shows jealousy. Clearly shows that. To me. Not asking you to take away the same thing, but I showed you this video because to me, it does illustrate that very thing. Let me bring up the next item here. Where is it? So this caller, this is my notes. Caller pleads for peace. Oh no, this is the title of the video. Caller pleads for peace with Jimmy Dore. That's the title of the video. Sam, Emma, and Nominky admit the forced to vote saga being petty and their personal opinions affecting support for forced to vote. That's what I have in my notes. Let's see what we do here. And I think them giving the reason not to support forced to vote for Jimmy Dore also is a receipt. That's also a receipt that indicates anyway, I won't say that. I don't want to go too far. Let's go. Let's play this video. It's entitled Caller Pleads for Peace with Jimmy Dore.
I'm calling from Miami. I've been watching you guys for probably like a year now. It's funny the topic you were just kind of talking about because I grew up in a predominantly right-wing family.
All right, so the caller does take a long time to explain what he's feeling, so let me move it past here. Okay, so let's move here.
It doesn't help like people, there's valid reasons for people to be angry right now, and obviously there's a lot of different outlets misinforming people and telling you this is the reason, this is the person who's the cause of all your problems and stuff like that. I think people just need to just chill out for a second, like really like see where we're trying to come from, because it's like, you know, you want to talk about lived experience, you know, everyone's lived experience is unique and different and intersectional in so many different ways. And when we put each other in these different groups, I don't think it helps. It's making us lose focus from what's really important right now. And that's we're suffering.
I think that's I think that's a good point. I should say first off that part of Michael's job description on this program, anyways, was to be condescending, and so I did give him a condescending bonus.
Part of the courage bonus, same thing.
Right.
But no, I think. Listen, I think I certainly had no intention of talking about this today. I mean, I think it's one of the reasons why I think like. The whole thing has been problematic. And I just remind people like 3 or 4 weeks ago, when the idea of forcing this vote was first floated, I gave, I wasn't a resounding endorsement, but I certainly endorsed the idea. I largely feel like, 1,000 flowers bloom. It became problematic for me where I realized it was not so much a, and at the time I did say like, it might be better to try and get something more material than that, but whatever. Like I say, 1,000 flowers bloom. But when it turns into a mechanism that undercuts the little progressive power that we have,
that's right,
in Congress, it became an issue. But
this is their way of saying when it became a mechanism to criticize their heroes in the squad and AOC, that's when they said, we're out this bitch. So more Captain Save a Politician play. Let's listen.
Like I say, 1,000 flowers bloom. But when it turns into a mechanism that undercuts the...
And you see, this is another reason why they despise Jimmy Dore. They are so... Hi, what can I get for you? Can I dance for you? They're so that way to politicians, and Jimmy Dore is so flipping them off, flipping off their heroes, the people that they're here to shield and worship, because they are here to shield the progressives and the progressive politicians. They're here to shield them from the non-establishment people who's not on board with this fake squad bullshit. That's who they're here. So any non-establishment left people, because they know those that are going to be dissatisfied with this milk toast stuff, but those who are dissatisfied, that's like Jimmy Dore to them. Hang on a second here. Something popped up. All right, so let's play. I lost my
little progressive power that we have,
that's right,
in Congress, it became an issue. But I do appreciate the idea that this sounds super petty, and on some level it really is. I mean, we're talking about a very narrow corner of even like the political.
He's not referring to him being petty. That's when he's agreeing petty. All of them are shaking their heads. Believe me, they're not placing that word on them. They're placing it on somebody else as they're shaking their head.
Podcast world, right? Like, I mean, there's, and to a certain extent, a lot of these shows are fighting for, attention and this and that. And I think part of it is also like whenever I turn on any of my, devices to go and get the stories that I'm looking for, we're all inundated by comments about this stuff.
Yeah, so
that's right.
I get what you're saying. I mean, it does seem very petty. There are personal so for example, if like Anna is gone after or a friend of mine, I respond, maybe I shouldn't do that. But so your personal feelings do get involved for sure. But part of why I have replied, and maybe why we've talked about this a little more than some people would like, is because I do think it's important to call exactly what Sam's talking about. Because I think we have a responsibility to hold our peers ostensibly accountable to not engage in the toxicity that, say, we see Alex Jones on the right. That whole right-wing media.
Now, I want to address this as it's not a side topic. It's part of this. Let me play again this last 10 or 15 seconds of Emma and address it.
Peers ostensibly accountable to not engage in the toxicity that, say, we see Alex Jones on the right. That whole.
So again, Democrats are all about civility, order. What happened when people went to go protest AOC? Oh, what's the problem? Oh, it's because you didn't get in line. You just get in line. Same thing with Jamal Bowman. It's just oh yeah, it's all about proper etiquette. It's all about that. And that will never produce results for the people at the bottom. That type of politics. So let's listen some more.
Responsibility to hold our peers ostensibly accountable to not engage in the toxicity that, say, we see Alex Jones on the right.
So she's saying we're supposed to hold people accountable that's engaging in toxicity like Alex Jones. So one, I don't know Alex Jones, but the people who listen to them that is engaged in culture war, clicks to them right away when she says the Alex Jones comment. But I'm assuming that means unruly, loud, in your face. Let's go with that. So let's say if that's Alex Jones and you're saying on the right, let's see if this strategy on the right has produced any things. Would you say that the right and people on the right and the right actually delivers for their constituency way more often and more substantially? Would you say that? So why are we trying not to use the tactics that the right is using? Why is that? Why are we not trying to be adversarial like a Tea Party? Why? Why are we making demands like the Tea Party, people in Congress right now? They're about to take power. Did you see them? We're going to report on this tomorrow, but they sent a letter to McCarthy. This is the rules we're going to want. And one of the rules is any member has the right to call for you to be voted out at any time. Why aren't we doing this? You're acting like nobody's saying their policies are good, but why are we criticizing their tactics when they're producing? We want to do these things in a nice way that's not producing anything. So let's continue with the video. I think Nomenki speaks a little bit, then we'll stop.
Right. That whole right-wing media apparatus was already vile, but has descended into conspiracy theory peddling and just vileness in a whole different stratosphere. So that's part of maybe why I may have come off as aggressive in this area to you, but that's really where I see it.
Well, it's also if you don't set.
She's saying it's important that she calls out her peers, and another podcaster would be her peers. And I'm glad you think that's important because that's what we do here too. And that's what we're going to continue to do with you clowns.
Set the record. I mean, even like if you're running for office or whatever, if you want to look at political, like pretend this is a political campaign. You sometimes have to, if they're determining the messaging, they're determining the messaging. Like the fact that like you had to go out there and set your record straight, or I had to be like, guys, I'm not a CIA agent.
I wanted her to say that last part before I stop. So because she said she's not a CIA agent, gotcha. I have been live every Sunday the last maybe 3 Sundays. I don't know. I don't want to say yes because I'm doing Sundays because I just feel like a topic like these topics fall on my lap, and the obsession topic was one I was supposed to do already. But anyway, I wouldn't assume that. It can be likely, but I would not assume it. She's 100% CIA. Nomiki or NATO Nominki, yeah. I think that's how you say her name. That a red flag. Or that's a red flag. To keep gaslighting you. She actually is CIA. I saw that. Again here, she is CIA. All right, so let's go to the next one. All right, so let's continue. Hold on. Okay, they're leaving to the park. Just listening to what they're okay. So let's go to the next item here. I am going to interject this clip because it's the same topic, and I was going to do obsession and have multiple people, not just zero in on Sam SEDER. But when I started to search, for whatever reason, I happened to do Majority Report first. When I started to think of this idea, let's talk about how they're obsessed with PMC class, and I was going to do all of them, how they all kind of attack him. Went to the Majority Report, and I saw 100 video. I'm like, shit, I'm going to have to do a stream just on him. Because of that, hang on a second. And so I'm going to bring up this next video. This is Mike Figueredo on Jimmy Dore as a guest, believe it or not. And let's just listen to what he says.
There's a unity tour happening.
This video
right now. Bernie Sanders
ties into obsession is because they were all fine with him before. He speaks the same, he uses the same rhetoric, he goes after politicians the same way as when they were on the show, and you're about to see it. He's going to go after Bernie Sanders in front of Mike. And see how this goes. The title of the video is Will Progressives Ever Vote for Democrats Again? With Mike Figueredo. You believe that? That's the title of the video. Let's listen.
Is going around with Tom Perez, and it is one of the most disgusting displays of bullshit that I've seen in quite a while. And I really don't know what Bernie Sanders thinks he's trying to pull. It's that same kind of stuff he was doing when he was stumping for Hillary. It's like, and you know, he couldn't get 5 people to show up at a gymnasium to listen to him tell bullshit about Hillary Clinton. And now here he is going around saying bullshit about the Democratic Party.
Are you listening to how he's speaking? Mike doesn't seem to have a problem with that. Why didn't they have a problem with that then?
There's going to be some unity happening. I'm going to tell Bernie Sanders right now, and anybody else who thinks that progressives like me are going to unify with Tom Perez and his bullshit warmed over corporatist agenda, which just got the Democratic Party.
So let me just say, this could quite possibly be the reason could quite possibly be because this is before is this before? Let me look at the year. Is this before Jimmy really said, I'm completely never going back to the Democratic Party? Yes, because this is like 5 years ago. So we're talking around the time where everybody kind of coalesced. So we're talking about the Bernie coalition that is now completely fractured and sort of warring. This is when we were all together, and that's when this video was made. But if you listen to how he's speaking, and about their beloved, even Bernie Sanders, the most hero worshipped politician, maybe second to Donald Trump.
Party wiped out from coast to coast. That's not happening. I'm not going to support a corporatist Democrat because Bernie Sanders stands next to him. In fact, Bernie Sanders told us a year ago that we shouldn't listen to him. That's what Bernie Sanders said. So how do you feel about this unity tour with the Democrats?
Yeah, if Bernie Sanders does something, I try to give him the benefit of the doubt more so than other politicians. But there's absolutely no way I can rationalize this, because Bernie Sanders has repeatedly lambasted Democrats. He said they need to reform X, they need to reform Y, Z. But he's decided to imply that we should unify behind the Democratic Party before they've done anything to reform. And in fact, they just gave us the middle finger. They voted down a ban on lobbyist contributions the same day that Tom Perez became the new DNC chair. So
my question is, what happened to Mike? What happened to this Mike?
They've done nothing to show to us that they are willing to embrace progressive reforms. And we see a couple of articles in Politico and The Hill about how, Dems are embracing Bernie now. That sounds great. Let's see it. I want to actually see some action. I don't want to hear about how they're embracing Bernie Sanders, because here's how it looks to me. They continue to trot out progressives like Keith Ellison, who, progressives already have some problems with him, but he is, he's better than Tom Perez. We'll put it that way. They trot out Keith Ellison. They drag Bernie Sanders along and they say, hey, we're like this guy. Meanwhile, they haven't changed a single thing. So I don't get what the goal of Bernie Sanders' unity tour is. It seems like a complete contradiction given all of the criticism that he's talked about with respect to the Democratic Party. So I'm not with Bernie on this issue. And I think that's fine, because the difference between us and Hillary Clinton supporters is that we don't just blindly, follow someone and support them because of a cult of personality. We actually are able to disagree with them if they do something that doesn't make sense. Bernie, this makes no sense. And I know that, I took a little bit of heat for talking about this, but it makes no sense to me. I'm not unifying behind the Democratic Party until I see that they change. And they've, if anything, they've given us, the cold shoulder and have communicated to us that they're not going to change a single thing. So there's going to be no unity. It makes no sense to me, Jimmy.
Well, there's actually a unity commission right now. You heard about that unity commission, right? There's a unity commission. And what do you think about I don't think much of it. I'm going to look more into it, but I don't understand what that is about. Like, it's like the Democrats still don't know who they are. You still don't know what you're supposed to be for. What do you mean? What do you want to unify? I don't understand what that point of a unity commission is.
Well, I'll tell you what it's about, Jimmy. They are patting progressives on the head. They're saying, we're listening to you. It's okay. You get a seat at the table. But what they don't tell you, and what's downplayed in the articles about the Unity Commission, is that this Unity Commission, will it be hearing about, reforming the Democratic Party when it comes to superdelegates and closed primaries? Yeah, that's technically true. But they're not giving progressives an equal seat at the table. So I don't know if you know about the voting in the...
My question for everybody who believes in this social justice Democrat strategy, what progress have you gotten since this video, Mike? Participating in this squad bullshit. Now, obviously, you were a little more radical here and on the Jimmy Dore show 5-6 years ago than you are now. Thought that was a question.
In the Unity Commission, but there's about 8 people, I believe, I could be wrong, could be 7, on the Bernie Sanders side. So Bernie Sanders appointed 7 or 8 people. Hillary Clinton chose 9 people. Tom Perez chose 3 people. So any reform that they want to implement, that progressives want to implement, they could vote it down like that. So they're giving us a seat at the table, but they're not going to implement our changes. And so I find it insulting.
I find it more, I do too. I find it not only insulting, I find it insulting on several levels, because they're the ones who wag their finger at us saying that we have to grow up and we don't understand how the world works. Yet here they are completely wiped out as a party. Again, I'll keep saying it, from coast to coast, from state house to state house, from the House to the Senate to the White House. They are completely wiped out, and they are willing to change nothing. And so it's insulting at an intelligence level. It's insulting to me as a progressive, because you're lying to us by saying you care about us. It's insulting. It's ridiculous. And then again, we still get my finger. I'm still called a petulant child because I'm holding the Democrats' feet to the fire. And people are like, hey, the election's over. It's time to unite. And I'm like, no, you guys want to unite around the same shit that got you wiped out.
Mm-hmm.
So where do you see So I guess let me ask you a question instead of just make a stupid statement like that. Let me ask you a question. What do you think Bernie's doing this for?
I don't think that Bernie Sanders has any malicious intentions, so I honestly don't know, but here's what I think it is. I think that he believes that this will somehow make the Democratic Party grassroots. So if you hold Tom Perez's hand and you drag him along to all these red states and show him what to talk about, maybe that will change. But the problem with that and look, this is a straw man of what I think Bernie Sanders is doing, but if that is in fact Bernie Sanders' strategy, then the problem is you cannot become grassroots if you're still taking corporate money. That's a huge that's a non-starter. So what Bernie Sanders should have said is, look, if you want my assistance, which you should be.
Mike said that's a non-starter 5-6 years ago. I'm sure he knows that they're taking money from billionaires by way of the Working Families Party. I'm sure he knows that. The Working Families Party gets the donation from the billionaire, then the Working Families Party donates to those candidates. We just did a stream on this.
Begging me to do, because I'm the most popular politician in the country. Then here's what you got to do. First of all, you got to stop taking large donations from multinational corporations, and they're raking in a lot of money because they know that the general electorate is already tired of Donald Trump. So there's talk that maybe Donald Trump will lose in 2020. So I don't know what Bernie Sanders' goal is here. But it doesn't look like it's a strategy that will be conducive to any type of reform whatsoever. And if anything, I think that it's going to kind of damage the reputation of Bernie Sanders, by.
I can't believe this is Mike. Like, this is what we would be saying about this commission. This is Mike Federigo. I'm sorry. This is Mike from the Humanist Report. It doesn't sound like the same person at all. Listen to some more.
By aligning with someone as egregious as Tom Perez, who, by the way, helped smear Bernie Sanders.
I know.
Right. Thank you. Nobody is mentioning this, but one, he said that the primary is rigged. Then he changed his position. And then if you go back and read the emails, he said, well, you know what? Bernie Sanders may have won this state, but here's what's going to happen. Since Bernie Sanders, and I'm paraphrasing, since Bernie Sanders is getting all this millennial support, we're going to say he's only getting white male millennial support. He's only successful among white males, and they're the devil. So if Bernie Sanders, is only getting that type of support, then we're going to change this. We're going to make it seem as though he's racially insensitive. We're going to plant that seed. And of course, we saw what that turned into. Tom Perez manufactured that narrative. So I find it insulting. Bernie Sanders, to me, it pissed me off. And my whole argument was that Bernie Sanders has got to stop being so nice. They've shown time and again they want nothing to do with Bernie. So now it's time to show them some tough love. Tell them to fuck off if they're not going to.
I can't believe he's saying this stuff. I can't believe Mike is saying this stuff. Tell them to fuck off. What happened to Mike? Where did this Mike go? And the thing is, we barely through, not even halfway through the video. Are we even a quarter? We're not going to watch that much, but I'm just saying, like, throughout this entire video, he's talking like this. But if you go online, if you go on Twitter, he's using a video that Sabby did, he's using a video that Jimmy used. So I'm sorry, let me say this again. Sabby did a stream where she talked about the issue with Nina Turner and Jimmy Dore. Jimmy Dore uses a clip from Sabby's stream and he's playing it. And Jimmy Dore is watching it and playing it. Mike uses this clip as some sort of proof. Look who they're aligned with. They're aligned with the Tucker Carlson loving Jimmy Dore. Of course, he has to insert Tucker Carlson along with Jimmy Dore. But what happened here? You're on the show speaking in this way, and now you're here. It's telling me that they are here to shield any non-establishment sort of incoming fire from leftists. They're to shield the Democratic Party and or play captain, save a politician for progressive Democrats against people like us, like Jimmy, like me, like Convo Couch, and all of the other non-establishment people that are refusing to participate in the duopoly. Let's continue with Mike.
Kind of damaged the reputation of Bernie Sanders, by aligning with someone as egregious as Tom Perez, who, by the way, helped smear Bernie Sanders.
I know!
Right, thank you. Nobody is mentioning this, but one, he said that the primary is rigged. Then he changed his position. And then if you go back and read the emails, he said, well, you know what? Bernie Sanders may have won this state, but here's what's going to happen. Since Bernie Sanders, and I'm paraphrasing, since Bernie Sanders is getting all this millennial support, we're going to say he's only getting white male millennial support. He's only successful among white males, and they're the devil. So if Bernie Sanders, is only getting that type of support, then we're going to change this. We're going to make it seem as though he's racially insensitive. We're going to plant that seed. And of course, we saw what that turned into. Tom Perez manufactured that narrative. So I find it insulting. Bernie Sanders, to me, it pissed me off. And my whole argument was that Bernie Sanders has got to stop being so nice. They've shown time and again they want nothing to do with Bernie. So now it's time to show them some tough love. Tell them to fuck off if they're not going to implement Bernie Sanders reforms, because Bernie Sanders is wasting his breath in trying to go on these tours with Tom Perez if they haven't changed a thing.
Well, they haven't changed a thing. I mean, that's that they still have super delegates. They voted to take corporate money, and Bernie Sanders is doing the exact thing.
And they just doubled down on dark money and refused to remove it from their primaries. And I think we can stop this here. I'm telling you, this is a great watch. Go look for this video, because you will be very surprised in some of the things that he says here. Okay, hang on a second. Let me see the next video. Let me read my notes. The next video. Okay, let me read these. So this is my notes. One video, because Jimmy calls out Emma, they make this segment calling Jimmy transphobic. This is a huge stretch to call Jimmy transphobic. Then it says Sam and Emma get upset that Jimmy is calling out squad members. You think AOC is going to call out Pelosi? Okay, I think I'm going to go with this one, because it goes with the captain save a politician. I'm telling you, go watch this video. Will progressives ever vote for Democrats again? With Mike Figueredo. That's the video. I posted it on Twitter too, on my Twitter page. So if you want to go watch it there, I posted it to Mike Figueredo's thread because he said something about Jimmy Dore. Actually, let me show you that. Where is it? He says something about Jimmy Dore, connecting us with it. Okay, so here is this. Let me see if I can get to the. Okay, so now I'll go ahead and show you this part. All right, so let's go to this tweet. And I'm showing you this because he brings up he's continuing this thing, like, so I'll just read this part. So Jimmy joined in because after I figured out they're his buds, I called them out for it. I basically stopped engaging after realizing these were bad faith Dore adjacent propagandists for the GOP. But now I have been fully exposed and I am pro-war too. It's all dumb. And he's like, he made this tweet today for some reason, not letting it die, and he's getting ratioed again today. So we'll do a stream on, we'll add this to the stream tomorrow to fully go into this. But I'm showing you the video because he's bringing up Jimmy Dore to having the same obsession. And people know, people even in the comments are saying, look, why are you even bringing this out? You are clearly bringing this up because you are being called out for attacking Black leftists with this ridiculousness. Like Sabby literally said, yes, we did, because somebody, or Colin said, We told you this was going to happen about the student loan. And all Sabby said was, yes, we did. And then he said, you dipshits. So that was triggering. Anyway, let's go to the next point. And we're rounding to the end now. And that's this video. This new video. Sorry. Yep. And I will switch screens back to where that video is pulling up now. Is this it? That is not it.
Here's Jimmy Dore.
So this will be the last video. I have more, but it's getting. Where are we at? 2 hours? Yeah, a little over 2 hours. So I'm ready to end this stream. Just like with part 1 of Jimmy, the Jimmy video, like it was too much stuff to go over. I may do a part 2 for both of these later on another time, but not anytime soon. But the title of this video is Jimmy Dore has finally transformed into Jimmy Dore. Let me see here. So let's listen to Sam speak about this video he did. Now, he's clearly using Jimmy Dore's name for these clicks, because a person you hate, you wouldn't be doing over 100, literally hundreds of videos of this person. But let's begin.
Here's Jimmy Dore. And again, like, you know, we were just talking about, sometimes your living depends upon a certain perspective. Here's Jimmy Dore talking about, you know, really, you want to talk about depoliticizing people. Here's Jimmy Dore on his take on the slightly expanded squad.
I don't care if Cory Bush just got elected and fucking Jamal Bauman and the squad, and they're there to fake you out. Progressives inside the Democratic Party are there to fuck you up and fake you out. They're not there to help you. So this idea that somehow now Cory Bush and Jamal Bowman is going to somehow add to the heft of the progressive caucus is just a pipe dream, because now you have 6 people or 7 people who are kind of progressive inside the Democratic Party. What that does is gives a false signal to workers that the Democratic Party is an opposition party. It is.
Where is the lie in what Jimmy Dore says here? Where's the lie? But this is Captain Seva politician segment on the Majority Report. So they're here to protect politicians like the squad.
It is not. They are there to give you the false impression that it is. And that's why AOC is at the party. That's why Cory Bush is now in the party. They are not taking over this fucking party. That is not happening.
While I like these videos, we have the benefit of history and time. Is he wrong about Jamal Bowman and Cory Bush? We can answer the question definitively now, because we didn't know then. 2 unproven people, they've been there now. Cory Bush is writing books that don't sell, and Jamal Bowman is getting protested. So how is that working out?
Those people are head fakes inside the Democratic Party. More power to Cory Bush. It's a fool's errand to send you into the.
That's when he thought she was gonna be okay, but she has hit a dead end also.
Democratic Party. You are going to be squashed. Hey, the Democrats just got Cory Bush and Jamal Bowman. We have expanded the squad so that now we have more progressives who will do exactly as Nancy Pelosi tells them.
So proud of himself.
You think AOC has the balls to call out Nancy Pelosi?
She literally just did. She literally just did.
All right. Well, we got. Yes. I mean, she's. Yeah.
First off, Nancy Pelosi didn't literally call out Nancy. I'm sorry, AOC didn't literally just call out anyone. The examples they give never meet your own criteria for calling out. Now, listen to the example she gives.
You literally just did.
She just on the eve of Biden's victory had the balls to critique the Democratic Party on cable news and in an extensive New York Times interview.
That's what she calls calling out. You know what they call calling out Nancy Pelosi? If you say Democratic leadership, not her name. Again, what is calling out to them is not what's calling out to me.
Where no one else is doing that. But yeah, let's vilify the only people who are fighting for us.
Yeah, in that New York Times interview,
let's vilify the only people fighting for us. They're not fighting for us. And why are you here saving politicians? Playing Captain Save 'em. Do you see the point that I made? They're here, and their opposition to Jimmy Dore is about the Democratic Party and nothing else. If they were Green Party voters, we wouldn't be having this conversation, and Jimmy Dore can be the same exact person. They're doing this to shield for the Democratic Party.
She makes a point saying, like, I don't even know if I want to do politics.
And literally, the guy that's off screen on the Majority Report that talks, he gets my nomination for the dumbest person in a podcast. Because he always says the stupidest things. So he is my top nomination for the dumbest person in political podcasting. Whatever his name is, the voice that's talking now.
Because of what the Democratic Party is doing to her. The point is, she's actually proving that, right? Like, she's actually doing the work. They might run her out. I hope.
What work is she doing? What work are they doing?
I hope she does, and I hope she's in this for the long haul. But she's actually doing the work. So if you do have that perspective, you actually can't just sit on a YouTube show predicting stuff and shitting on people.
No. It's so much easier to just be an outsider and critique the people who are doing the hardest thing imaginable.
No, it's easier to shield for those people who aren't doing anything. It's easier to do that. It's way easier to do that.
Standing up to both Republican and Democratic establishments and doing it without corporate money.
She's not doing any of that, and she's getting.
No, you get to feel morally superior because your Patreon subscribers
but here's
are
the thing.
paying you to just crap on Democrats. No, Tulsi Gabbard.
You see, have you seen her speak in this manner about anything else this lively? She gets this lively when she's defending her heroes. I've never seen her move this much in the screen in a long time. But let's listen.
Tulsi Gabbard is apparently his alternative.
Exactly.
Yeah, right. The true champion of the working people who's going to stick it to Pelosi.
Yeah, Tulsi Gabbard is awful. Yeah, she's terrible.
Yeah. Here's what's also sort of just incredibly nihilistic about it. First off, as that gap between Republicans and Democrats decreases, right?
Now listen how they tell on themselves right here. Listen how they tell on themselves right here. And I think I'm going to end it at this point because I'm not watching an 18-minute video of these jackasses. No way. So this video is a year old. And he puts Jimmy Dore in his title because that's how he gets views. This is his last ditch effort to get views because he's not getting the same views that he used to get.
Power of the squad goes up 6-7 votes.
Listen to what he's saying. The power in having what the squad has right now.
As that gap between Republicans and Democrats decreases, right? The power of the squad goes up 6-7 votes. Are very close to making a majority. Now, if this moron, who I think at last check was, promoting the Green Party. If this moron wanted to use any of like the massive audience that he has, he would have the Green Party or help a Green Party congressional candidate. Because all you need now is like 3 or 4.
You see these institutionalists, their understanding is only through the understanding of a party. So, because my question would be for AOC is, why aren't you organizing in the streets with your platform? Why aren't you doing that? Something that will more directly help people that need it. But if you're people like these three here, or I'm just going to speak to Emma and Sam because I don't know the third person, but if you're these two people who literally don't think about hunger, who literally don't think about police violence, who literally don't think about what is it? Discrimination. I'm trying to think of the D word. Discrimination and all the isms. You don't think of that. And I'm talking about Sam, because I'm sure Emma thinks of marginalized women. But if you don't have relations or you don't have any. These things aren't relatable to you. They're not important. Let me let him make this a point again.
4 of them, and they could be basically leverage those 6 or 7 people.
He's saying that with the margins being so small, they could leverage their vote, but they haven't. That's what he's saying here. And it's a little more than a year ago. It says a year, but it's more than a year ago, but not quite 2 years ago.
This guy, we'll talk about depoliticization. This guy has such a complete disregard for the politics that exists today. It is literally like just saying, like, I mean, he might as well be talking about that, I know people are flying in planes now, okay? But air flight is not real until humans can fly. I mean, that's basically what he's saying. Like, they're not really.
That's got to be one of the terriblest analogies. So I don't even know what he's saying in that analogy. So I'm just going to let it play.
Flying. They're in planes. When humans can fly, then we are flying. I mean, put up. This is also what is I really got me going today. Put up that tweet. I spent an hour on the phone with this guy when he called in because he was upset that I was mocking him, or not mocking him. Actually, to be fair, I was actually taking him quite seriously. I can assure you that during that interview, and people can go back and look at it, I was getting IMs from people that I care about saying, don't be too mean with him. Do not destroy him too badly. Literally, the quote was, don't take the headshot. Even though it was just sitting right there throughout this entire debate with him, where his whole plan was that Hillary Clinton was going to lose. And then at the time he was like, and then we'll get Elizabeth Warren in there. And the Republican Party is going to destroy Donald Trump and they're going to fall apart. We're going to win in 2022. We're going to win in 2018.
Yeah.
We're going to take over.
That's why Trump was better for progressives than Hillary Clinton.
We're going to take over the Supreme Court because these Democrats, who I think are feckless, are going to finally build a spine and take over the party. I mean, look, because I was arguing like Democrats are feckless. They're not going to be able to stop 3 Supreme Court justices. And he told me that was the equivalent of the moon, worrying about the moon falling in Lake Michigan. This guy is so stupid when it comes to politics. I'm totally in favor of him.
He calls what he calls stupid is you have a complete disregard for the system because it's corrupt. That's all this is. This is about, I am not using a rusted, broken down apparatus to do anything. We need a new one. And they're saying, no, let's repair this. I think I'm going to leave it there only because I can't keep going. There's tons of video of these people. They're finding reasons to do content on him. It is clear they're finding reason to do content on him so they can have views. If they're not doing culture war stuff or Jimmy Dore, their videos don't get the same views. This is the reason why you can see Status Quo. That piece of shit over there, you can see that guy starting to do culture war stuff. And I call him a piece of shit, Jordan, because of what happened today. And we'll unpack that tomorrow stream, motherfucking bitch. So let's go to some comments. That guy. Yeah, that guy. Oh, he got it coming though, Brenda. He has it coming. Me and Rome got something cooking up for him for tomorrow. So agree with you on Jimmy and Brianna. Let's go through some of the comments here. Brianna Joy Gray showed how fun Sam SEDER is in their debates. Yeah, he didn't take it seriously. They are like any sort of failure of the Democratic Party, any sort of like pushback on social media to them can be contributed to Jimmy Dore or Jimmy Dore adjacent, as Mike Fioretta said from the Humanist Report. Dore adjacent, and we're GOPers now. Like, that's so absurd. Like, nobody buys that. This is day 2. He's getting ratioed on his own shit. Day 2. He thought, I'm gonna start a new stream, and getting his ass handed to him yet again. But we're gonna cover that. So we'll cover Jordan Sheraton chiming in, and we're gonna cover the new stuff that Mike did today. He interjected Jimmy Dore, so there'll be not Jimmy Dore focus, but Jimmy Dore conversation, because he interjects Jimmy Dore. He's trying to use us being friendly with Jimmy Dore as a way of saying, look at them, and it's not working. Look at him, it's not working. Look at them, friends with Jimmy Dore. It's just, and it's falling flat, and you can see it in his own comments. But I'm tired. I'm tired of listening to this nonsense from these people, and we're just gonna have to do a part 2. So it's not gonna be anytime soon, but just like the Jimmy video, wasn't able to cover everything. I just have to do a part 2 for it. So stay tuned for that. And as I think I'm gonna play the same one I played. Where is that video? Okay, here it goes. Wasn't sure if I knew I had saved it or not. So I think I might end with the same video, unless I have another one. But anyway, what was I just? Oh, check us out tomorrow. We should be coming to you about the same time. The Nick and CJ show. We told you yesterday the topic of Mike Fioretta was going to probably last a few days, and we're probably going to do another stream, and that will be tomorrow. But tomorrow's stream is just not on Mike. We're focusing on the class divide, and where we are saying it's on, basically, this class warfare that needs to happen with the professional managerial class. It's going to happen, and we're ready for it. And that is what the stream will be tomorrow. Did I find it? I don't think I found. I was looking for a specific one, but I have another one that I can play. So the one that we opened with, I think the lessons in it is so good that we need to do it again. And this is about the white moderate, and this is from his daughter, Bernie. She's the one who tweeted this out. It says, "My father's word on the white moderate." So this is from the daughter. "These are the people who stand in the way of progress. They are more committed to order than justice." Isn't this now? I'm playing it again because I played it in the beginning, and you may not have thought, "Oh, how is this connected to the topic of obsession?" topic of Sam SEDER and Jimmy Dore, and I hope you hear the connection once we play it again. But these are the ones, they're more committed to order. You see, don't talk out of line to the politician. This is toxic. They're committed to order. In the same way, they are the white moderates. The Sam SEDERs, the Emma Viglins, they are the white moderates, along with the entire Democratic Party. Ask me this: how can you be left and reactionary? Because the Democratic Party is a reactionary party. They don't want any progress. They want status quo. So if you're supporting a party that is reactionary, how are you not reactionary? So we will talk more about Sam SEDER and all the other reactionaries. I'm sorry, tomorrow for our class warfare stream tomorrow. We're at 641 likes. Can we push to 675? Let's push to 675 before we go. Now, if you're just catching this, just joining us live, and you wish you were here earlier, join our Substack so you can get notifications of our streams. Or if you're watching this on replay, join our Substack so we can send you notifications of when we go live, when we have videos. Like I said earlier, please like the stream. Let's see if we can get to 675. And I want to check our subscriber count here. Oh, wow. Some other stuff is going on. All right. So, yeah, I'll check that out in a minute once I get off. All right. So, subscribe today if you have not subscribed already. And thank you for watching. This is obviously an incomplete sort of narrative. But we've already reached 2.5 hours. So, we're just going to have to do a part 2 sometime in a month or 2 or 3. Sometime down the line, we'll have to do a part 2 of this topic. But until then, I'm going to leave you with this video, MLK.
But in recent years, I've come to see that these are often the people who stand in the way of progress because they are committed only in a lukewarm manner. And every time you move to try to solve the problem, they will respond by saying, you're moving too fast, you ought to cool off, you should put on brakes. And they end up more devoted to order than to justice, and are more devoted to maintaining a sort of negative peace, which is merely the absence of tension, than gaining a positive peace, which is the presence of justice. And they can always say to you that you should wait for a more convenient season. And I've come to see that these are the people that often stand in the way because they get close enough to you to at least discuss your plans, and they become friendly enough to talk with you. You at least have dialogue with them, but they want to stand in the way of every move forward. And this has been my disappointment. I think at times it is better to have outright rejection and misunderstanding from people of ill will than to have lukewarm acceptance from people of goodwill. It is better to have absolute misunderstanding from people of ill will than to have partial understanding from people of goodwill. And this is what we're seeing every day in our struggle in the South, that many of the moderates of the white South and many of them mean well, and I shouldn't only say the South, but the moderates all over, stand in the way of progress because they refuse to understand the problem, and they live by the myth of time, failing to realize that time will not solve the problem. And there's a danger that the moderate will live by this myth, believing that if you just leave things alone and not push too much, time will solve the problem. And it has always been my contention that this is an invalid view because it goes out with the idea that that is something in the very nature and structure of time that will miraculously solve all problems. And time really is neutral. It can be used either constructively or destructively.